Please note that police chases can be dangerous and unpredictable. We do not condone reckless driving or any other illegal activity. Our videos are intended for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Pursuing this vehicle. You can see the damage to the bumper there because this vehicle has been in an accident before. We've seen this guy making a lot of evasive maneuvers in and around Century and Broadway. Now he's making a right turn on, it looks like McKinley Street, approaching 106, now making a right turn on 106 going westbound. You can see there's three people in the car wearing those hoodies. One of them appears to be on a cell phone, possibly laughing. It's like they may not be aware they're in a pursuit, but there's no way I can see that would be likely because LAPD is in the area. They've been going between tracking mode and in active pursuit because of the danger here. You can see the evasive maneuvers as this driver goes through intersections without stopping, running through a stop sign right here and making a left turn. It looks like this is going to be 108, and we're continuing eastbound now, swerving around traffic, going the wrong way, and now going back the right way now and back the wrong way again, running through this intersection. It looks like that was a green there. Now we're going northbound on McKinley again. This is one of those pursuits that appears to be kind of making circles in one particular area. We've kind of stayed in the South LA Watts area throughout this pursuit. We're coming up on a work truck there, coming up on another oncoming vehicle right there, and this guy's just making these evasive maneuvers. And now one of the passengers there, it looked like, had his hand sticking out the window, again, still on the phone. So just very erratic driving and very interesting behavior from these pursuit suspects right now as LAPD continues this pursuit through South LA.
Well, interesting to say the least, but it's more like dangerous, and it looked like that guy was doing some selfie work in that car.
I think that's what he was doing because he was talking to the phone, and you could see the driver as well. So I think this is I mean, they're enjoying this moment, it seems, but this is extremely difficult because it is first surface streets. This is a very busy neighborhood, and they're going on the wrong side of the road. As you said, Gabe, there is no pursuing officers directly behind them. Maybe they're aware of a helicopter, maybe not. Nevertheless, this is a danger to this community.
Yeah, definitely a danger to the community because of the wrong way driving and the running through stoplights and red lights and things of that nature. Driving around traffic very erratically. If you see this vehicle in the area, just try and keep your distance. If you're in the neighborhood, lock your doors and windows. We are hearing that LAPD is treating this as a possibly armed suspect, so that kind of raises the level of danger. And just like this, you see this driver going the wrong way down Central Avenue in Watts and now back on the right side of the road, continuing southbound. It looks like the left, the driver's side window is now rolled up. I don't remember if this side of the window was rolled down earlier or if it was just those windows on the right side, but we're continuing this erratic driving. One coming up on, let's see, it looks like we're still on Central Avenue, and he's in that left turn lane. This might be a red light, running a red light, doing a right turn, now continuing on 114th Street. A lot of traffic building in the area. It's approaching rush hour now, but we're still kind of doing these circles in the area. And you can see there those right side windows, both the right side passenger and the rear passenger, they have their windows down, so they're just kind of enjoying this joyride, it seems, as we continue doing almost circles around the Watts and South LA area.
Yeah, these are
We're going to try and move Air 7 HD a little closer to this vehicle as it maneuvers through LAX airspace, but we will continue to keep an eye on this.
Wow, the worst type of pursuits that we don't want to see on surface streets, driving erratically like that, and especially this time of day when kids might be out in the street, and it's just so very dangerous to see this.
We've already seen it. There's so many people on the streets, and at least
down here.
Okay.
There's, you know, some trash bins in the roadway there. He hit one of the trash bins. Luckily, he didn't hit that other vehicle. And you can see there now some LAPD vehicles are possibly returning, at least making their presence known. I haven't heard if they're actively switching back into an active pursuit mode. They are keeping a bit of distance right now, hopefully to at least slow down some of the erratic driving that we've seen from this driver. But that even going into a following or a tracking mode, as LAPD calls it, doesn't seem to be altering the behavior of this driver any as we continue, looks like going southbound on Avalon as we continue this pursuit.
Gabe, from your information, the damage on this car could possibly have happened as a result of this pursuit, or at least the beginning of this pursuit?
We did hear that the vehicle was possibly in an accident earlier in this pursuit, but we don't believe that was from a pit or anything of that nature. We heard LAPD ask permission to pit earlier in this pursuit. They also asked permission for spike strips, both of which were denied earlier. And you can see there are a number of LAPD units. It looks like 5 LAPD units are continuing to keep a close distance, or at least keep a good distance on this vehicle to keep an eye on where he is, but not stay too close behind him to put any extra pressure on this vehicle. We are learning some additional information now that this is a reported stolen vehicle, so that makes it a little difficult for LAPD to figure out exactly who might be driving this vehicle, and that might be why LAPD is keeping a close eye on this and making sure they don't lose eyes on him without putting too much pressure on the driver. Now as we go eastbound on 105th Street.
Looks like they're flashing signs out the window. That's what that looked like. The guy in the back seat was flashing some sort of a sign when they took that turn.
You're right, David.
So we know, this is what we know. At least 3 people are in the car. It's being called a stolen vehicle pursuit, but there's also concern that they believe that at least one of these guys could be armed. So it's a dangerous situation, not just because of their driving, but what's going to happen when we come to an end to this pursuit, which it will end eventually. And as they continue to squeeze through all these narrow places in the neighborhood. There you
coming
go.
up to a, looks like an ice cream truck or a food truck there, possibly making contact with that car, continuing westbound on 106.
It sure looked like that. And we just see him plow right through all of those stop signs back and forth. Perhaps they'll be able to put a spike strip out if they continue circling in that area.
Well, Gabe said that they've been denied at first. I'm not sure, you know, what the contemplation is when it comes to spike strips and pit maneuvers, although they are circling a lot. Maybe eventually they do decide to do a spike strip on this guy because it is so dangerous, and they got to slow this guy down, especially when he goes in the wrong side of the road.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's
there you go. See, flashing. He's flashing the
signs.
They need to enjoy this last joyride before they.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it looks almost as if the passenger in the front seat is laughing. He was on the phone earlier. They're definitely enjoying their 15 minutes of fame as they drive completely dangerously. Looks like making a right turn eastbound on Century. And as you said, David, there's one of the passengers looking up at us in the helicopter. They have to be aware of us down here. We did hear the LAPD helicopter actually ask units on the ground to back off a little bit to hopefully relieve some of the pressure on this driver. And as far as spike strips are concerned, the driver is circling the same general area but not staying on the same exact road. So it's still kind of hard to predict exactly where this driver will go and where he'll turn, making a left turn now on Clovis. We've been on Clovis before, so he's definitely hitting the same streets, probably staying in an area that he's familiar with.
Yeah, but not a specific pattern, so it's hard to predict.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Continuing northbound now on Clovis.
All right, at least this street is a little bit more wide open.
Yes.
What was that, David?
At least this street is a little bit more wide open. It's not a tough squeeze, and there's some space for them to move.
Exactly.
You know, you don't know what the end goal is here and what way that they eventually decide to do, but not sure if law enforcement will let these guys go, considering what they know now.
Yeah, one of the little bit more open streets in the area as we make kind of an aggressive left turn there, going the wrong way, possibly making contact with an SUV there. Now on the right side of the road, looks like going westbound on 92nd Street. Some of the roads in this area do provide for a little bit of safer traversing, although at these speeds with this erratic behavior, you can see they're using the center median to drive around traffic. Any of this driving is unsafe at this speed and at this magnitude. Looks like we're making a northbound turn on McKinley, left turn on 91st Street, staying in these residential areas. Like you noticed, some of these residential streets are a little more open and a little more easier to for this suspect to kind of fly through. You can see there some pedestrians there are in these roads, and as we said, it's close to rush hour. School let out an hour or so ago, a couple hours ago, so you see possibly young people in the street as we go, looks like an eastbound turn on Avalon now, still driving at a high rate of speed and still swerving around other vehicles as these looks like 3 suspects in a Hyundai continue their joyride through South LA. Continuing on 89th Street now, westbound. and LAPD still considering this a tracking mode situation right now. They have their LAPD helicopter overhead, but they're keeping the units on the ground, keeping them at a distance while still following. So they have a lot of units in the area. Once they kind of see the pattern of a suspect staying in the same general area, they'll start to position units in various parts of the area. So if the suspect were to foot bail, if they were to get out and run, it's not just the pursuing units in the that are actually following that will have to deal with that. They have other units that can kind of merge in and start to help out with a apprehension of these suspects. Looks like that vehicle almost got some air there as we continue at a high rate of speed on 88th Street westbound. Coming up on another intersection here. It looks like it's a red light. There's some oncoming traffic there. That suspect very smartly slows down, looking, and makes a right turn there northbound on Main Street, and we've been on this street before. We're going to see what this suspect does. Hopefully there's not too much traffic on this street that this suspect has to deal with, and we're going to move Air 7 around to see if we can find out where this suspect turns after that.
Yeah, keep in mind at home, if you have friends or loved ones that live in this general area, to tell everybody lock their doors, because we don't know, some of these times they come out of the car and try to carjack somebody else's car or run into some neighborhood. But just, again, driving this so erratically and dangerously, this is a scary, one of those pursuits that make your palms sweat when you watch it.
Yeah. We've seen this before where it's so erratic and so dangerous, you think for sure it's going to get in an accident. But a lot of times it will end surprisingly. But you definitely do not want something tragic to happen at the end of this pursuit. They clearly are not taking their behavior seriously, and you just hope we get lucky here and somehow this comes to an end without anybody getting hurt.
Especially with these narrow streets.
I'm just aghast right now at how relaxed the driver and the suspect looks. You could see the driver with just one hand on the steering wheel earlier, just going for, you know, afternoon joyride like any other. As we approach some other oncoming traffic there, some cross traffic coming the other way, going westbound on San Pedro Street now. And you can see there's the driver, there's the passenger kind of making some gestures there, making a sharp right turn now on 89th Street. And from the damage to this vehicle, you can see that this driver doesn't care about damaging the vehicle and continuing on, because this vehicle's been in accidents before. We've seen him hit other things, possibly hit other vehicles. It's hard to tell because those things happen so fast. But as we go through these neighborhoods that are possibly a little bit narrow, you have to wonder if this suspect is going to hit anything or how this will end.
Right.
And we still don't know for sure if there is a fourth person in this vehicle. The windows are tinted, so it's tough to look in. And they've been up the whole time on the driver's side of the vehicle. The passenger's side, they've been down. And it's very clear that there are at least 3 people. We don't know if that fourth person is there.
Yeah, we've only been able to confirm the 3 people in the vehicle. The LAPD units and the air unit have only been able to confirm 3 people as well, because, as you said, those windows are tinted. And that's something that LAPD, as we run through a stop sign there at 89th and Wadsworth, that's something that LAPD often has to deal with when pulling suspects over or performing traffic stops, is those tinted windows. Now we're making a right turn on Central again, so we're staying on these streets, kind of between 85th and 95th, Central, Main, San Pedro, staying on all those general streets. This one looks a little bit of a wider street that this suspect can continue on, but it almost seems to me that this guy's maybe slowing down a little bit, and then just as I say that, he speeds up and continues westbound on Hooper, not really caring about where the lanes are, and a lot of traffic there waiting for the light, and this suspect makes a left turn there on 92nd with cross traffic coming. Just a very dangerous situation here in South LA.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few pedestrians and pretty close calls with pedestrians walking these streets, the residential streets, and that's when you really get nervous when you watch a pursuit like this.
And you wonder if the excitement is going to eventually wear off of these guys. It almost get that sense they're very excited at the beginning, and they seem to be kind of mellowing out a little bit. And now they got to think about how are they going to get out of this situation.
Yeah, exactly. And we understand that they are possibly armed, and this car is reportedly stolen, so they know they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, they do, and they are dealing with some traffic here as this white Jeep and some other vehicles, I'm not sure what they're waiting for, if it's a stoplight up ahead, and it looks like this suspect may have come to a stop here. possibly maybe deciding, it looks like that rear passenger may have saw us up here in the helicopter, so they know that they are still being pursued. There's no way in my mind that they don't know that, but they don't see the officers behind them. So now you have to wonder what's going through these suspects' mind as far as what you were saying, David, that you know, they're kind of getting past the initial excitement of this and are looking to kind of mellow out now and find a way out of this situation as we continue. Looks like northbound now. On 𝗏𝗏 approaching 96th Street. We're making a left turn westbound on 96th Street now, and we're just kind of staying in the same general area.
Certainly behaving like they're being pursued, so I think they know something's up and they need to get away, or at least try to.
Yeah, they are still in the mindset of getting away. They're not coming to a complete stop, and they're not giving up. We saw them stuck in that traffic earlier, and they just kind of waited it out, just kind of saw that the officers weren't immediately behind them, and waited for that traffic to move and carry on as we continue on Firth Boulevard, leaving 92nd Street, still at a high rate of speed, still driving dangerously around oncoming traffic and passing other vehicles as we make a right turn now, going, looks like southbound. We'll get that cross street for you shortly.
They rolled all the windows up now, too.
Yeah, that's a good point. The windows there on the right side are all rolled up, so this might play into what we were thinking is happening here, where it's kind of a changing mindset as far as these pursuit suspects are concerned. They're getting past the kind of, you know, giddiness of initially trying to get away. Now picking up speed here a little bit, using that center median, using that left turn lane. All of a sudden we're at 60 miles an hour on surface streets, going around some of these other vehicles that are stuck in traffic. It looks like he might be stopped at that light there, not at the light, but in the intersection, continuing through in the center median.
Yeah, window roll down again in the back seat there.
Yep, the windows rolled down again. So it's just very peculiar, the behavior of these passengers and kind of what their purpose and point is here, what they're trying to prove. That's something we always ask, and what we always wonder in these pursuit situations is why do they do it? As we see a bicyclist in the middle of the roadway there, this looks like another road that's a little bit wider that this suspect is kind of finding ways to move around a little less dangerously than earlier. But looks like Laurel Street 92nd now is where we're at. We're slowing down a little bit, possibly making a right turn, and no, not doing a right turn. Continuing through the intersection now, approaching on Alameda now, moving around some other traffic there. And at this point, it's just a joyride for these suspects, and they are going to drive until they can no longer, it seems like. So we're going to start listening to see what LAPD does as far as possibly trying to bring this thing to an end through other means, whether they actually try and re-engage the pursuit, or whether they completely back off and see if they can deal with these suspects later, which we have seen LAPD do. It's just a matter of time now to figure out what how LAPD decides to handle this situation.
Do you see any LAPD vehicles, or they've completely pulled back?
We do have the air unit overhead, but I haven't seen any ground units in quite some time. There's the air unit there as it flies through the shot. I'm being told now that excuse me. I'm being told now that no ground units. Oh, and there we go.
They're running.
There's 1 foot bail. There's 2. There's 3. There's the 3 suspects that we thought were in the vehicle, and 3 of them exit the vehicle. So as we were just saying, there were no ground units right behind this suspect, but we do know they're in the area. So we're going to wait and see how fast or how long it takes for those LAPD units on the ground to move in and at least locate these suspects and take them into custody. It looks like one of them's either holding his hoodie, possibly on the phone there. I'm not sure what. This one was the driver, we're being told. So we're going to stay with this driver and see where that driver ends up, because that's the one that LAPD is going to be most interested in, although more than likely they're going to take all 3 of these suspects into custody. We're near Willow Place and Long Beach Boulevard. We're seeing if these suspects pop out on the other side of this building. They're possibly in the alleyway, and the LAPD air unit is calling ground units on the ground to this scene to hopefully take these 3 suspects into custody.
Hopefully they'll stay stay together, because it'll be that much easier for LAPD to get all three if they just remain together like they are. And clearly there's somewhere in that alley, unless they happen to weigh in and they know something about that apartment and they're able to get through a window or something like that, a blind spot for us, and maybe that's part of their tactics here. But they are behind that taller building right now in what appears to be either a backyard or an alley. We don't know if they're outside or worked their way in. But they are back there somewhere. And I guess, Gabe, you just got to sit here and wait this out.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, David, of what we're dealing with, we're in the LAX airspace, and so we have a little bit of limited capability of movement as far as staying where we are right now, and we didn't see which door they went into, but LAPD, the air unit, is calling out units to this location, and they believe possibly that the suspect went inside one of the buildings here. So we're going to at least keep monitoring the LAPD frequencies as we see some residents come out of their homes wondering what's going on, and that's kind of a dangerous situation here because you don't know where exactly these suspects are or if they're armed, so not a good idea to come out of your home. Hopefully they go back inside their home, and if LAPD units show up shortly here, they'll be able to tell those residents to do just that. But we're trying to move Air 7 around now. We just got permission to move on the west side of the building here to hopefully see what's going on in that alleyway, although judging from how these residents are reacting, it doesn't appear that anyone is in that alleyway anymore. So we're going to keep on working with LAPD to figure out whether these suspects actually went inside one of those apartment units on the left there, or whether they hopped the fence there on the right.
Right. So it could have been one of those two buildings that you're over right now, which seem to be somehow connected to the same structure, kind of like mirror images of each other. So they went, am I getting this right? Did they go down that sidewalk that looked like an alley, or was it on the far side where you see that black cat?
It looked like they went down where that black cat was,
okay,
where
right
these
there.
residents are, and we're hearing from the LAPD unit talking on one of the common air frequencies here that they are working on the assumption that the suspects possibly went inside this building, and as they continue to get ground units on the scene here. We're continuing to monitor the scene here at Willow Place and Long Beach Boulevard. Air 7 HD has been overhead for about 10 minutes where this pursuit came to an end. A erratic pursuit through the streets of South LA and Watts. A couple of suspects, 3 suspects in the vehicle. Looks like a crime scene, or at least closures going on there on Willow Place. LAPD watching the scene there. We did hear from one of the units on the ground that they're possibly going to scour the scene for ring camera video and things of that nature to see if they can get better visuals on who this suspect were. We do believe that the suspects are in this pink apartment complex, if you will. Jay, I'm watching it. Copy. YouTube. Why aren't they stopping it? Stay on this car for a sec. 6UCG063. Okay. So they're going to talk to them, keep working this perimeter. Looking at 45, J, 45 on station. Yeah. From the live one or the one on tape? 063. Yeah. It sounds like it. They said 3 in custody. And there they are. Oh, there's like no delay on this. We're trying to figure out, if you're still with us on one of our streams, we're trying to figure out what those individuals that have been detained up against the wall back there, what relation they have with this whole scene. LAPD has detained those individuals, and we were in contact with the area unit who informed us that they did, those individuals did have a gun. And the area unit also informed us that they did find a gun in the suspect vehicle of the original pursuit. So a lot of things to put together here, as LAPD still has eyes on this pink house where we believe the original pursuit suspects are now in. A perimeter has been put up in the area with the LAPD area unit and units on the ground to make sure that no one enters or leaves the area without being seen or noted. And the next step will be LAPD making the decision on how to proceed, whether they move into the home or whether they wait. They do have the factor of time on their side. The LAPD can wait here all day and all night. They have other units that will start to report in for work later in the day, and they can take over this scene and relieve officers that are already on this scene, and they can wait out these suspects if they have to. I'm on the simplex still. I think they're talking amongst themselves right now. Yeah, no, it's been great. Thank you. Ooh. Really go on freeways, but a lot of erratic driving, a lot of driving on the wrong way of the street, a lot of possibly sideswiping other vehicles. Looking at the live pictures now, LAPD does have Willow closed just to the north of Long Beach Boulevard. Now, they did take 3 additional suspects into custody. Unknown what their connection is to this entire scene, but they're going to talk to them and try and gather that information. A weapon was also discovered in the original pursuit suspect's vehicle. We're going to keep an eye on this and bring you an update as this standoff continues in South LA. For now, live in Air 7 HD, Gabe Santos, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.